Note-taking is a big one that it's important for all students to know how to do. Note-taking is often what I've found one of those frustration points for students. Trying to keep up, trying to read their own handwriting, things like that. So there's a lot of really cool and different ways to support students through this. One of the more common ways you'll see it done is through slot notes. You'll often see slot notes at all levels of instruction. It could be your elementary, middle, high school level, but I'm sure many of your college classes will be or have used them as well. Next thing with slot notes is a lot of the writing is already there. The students just have to fill in the blanks. So for some of your students, you could go through and have them handwrite. Snap type, which I was showing you earlier, that's another really good one. You just take a picture of the page and you just type out the notes and provide them a Word doc and they can just type into the slot notes. But the other one I'll do for students is they'll have their slot notes, but on the side of the page, I've already cut out the different words that they need for that page. And all the students will have to do is, as they hear a word or see the word, all they're going to have to do is just take the word they have and just glue it to the line. So you can do it with words. Another good one is with pictures. So you can have pictures of whatever the topic is and have them pasted onto the page. One of my favorite graphic organizers is out of the University of Kansas. This is called the frame routine. The nice thing with the frame routine, it's really nice for reading. Honestly, it's just a really nice all-around graphic organizer. I really like it because it breaks down kind of the whole entire idea of something. So if you're working on a reading assignment, you could have each of the let's see, I'll make it bigger for you guys without covering me up. But if you have 3 different chapters, you can do a compare and contrast. Chapter 1, 3 details about chapter 1, 3 details about chapter 2. You can do it through different subjects. So if you're talking about planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, you can have it to compare different math strategies, things like that. So it's really nice for just different things like that. For reading assignments, I often use it. I still use it today for stuff. For reading assignments, different sections of a chapter will be each of these main ideas. So the main idea could be talking about Revolutionary War, George Washington, who else? The British and the French and different roles, things like that. But also like it for writing assignments. So it sets up a really nice 5-paragraph paper. Up here you've got your intro paragraph, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, conclusion. Students just really like this because there's only a set space, so you don't have to write a lot. And if you tell a student they only have to write 4 details per section, that's 1 detail, 2 details, 3 details, 4. So it creates that checklist all together. That's nice, but you can modify it, you can put pictures, and there's just a lot of really good ways to use this graphic organizer. Another one I'll do with students is I love flashcards. Going back to earlier, I was talking about I love the dollar store. I think the dollar store is the greatest thing ever. Greatest place ever. But the nice thing with the dollar store, they sell flashcards. They always sell flashcards. There's always new flashcards to use. So when I was in the classroom, and it helps other teachers do, if you buy flashcards, what you can do is buy flashcards, but then buy Velcro. Put Velcro into the flashcard and put the answer down. Now you've got a matching activity for students. You can do it for math facts, where in an envelope you've got all the different math facts, they just have to match them. You can do it with, if there's lots of different science facts that you'll find flashcards for. It's not a really nice activity to really set up. It's really good station activity, review activity, things like that. Students are able to do it on their own, things like that. Going back into applications, talking a little bit about sorts. Sorting activities are really nice for students because they're able to go through and create columns and groupings of words however they want. An application I like to use with my students is called iCard Sort. Literally all iCard Sort is it's sorting flashcards. But sometimes what you'll find with students is that if you just take the same assignment that you do on a piece of paper and digitize it, the students are more likely to stay engaged, things like that. often was, I was talking earlier with Smartboard, Smart Notebook, a review activity, and as a group I might do a word sort on the Smartboard, but I can then take that same Smartboard activity, put on each of my computers, have an activity. I once had an activity where the students didn't catch on at first that they were doing the same sort twice, but I gave them index cards where they had to do some type of sort with index cards, but then I actually had the same sort on the Smartboard. The students were cycling through. It wasn't until like the last 2 or 3 minutes of class when a student looked at me and was like, "Hey, Mr. S, did we just do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." But the nice thing with iCard Sort, it's another really cool tool where you just create digital flashcards and kind of, if I can go through, you're able to sort them, things like that. Everything's custom, so you can do it for facts, you can do it for spelling words, things like that. But it's a fun one kids like, and it's also, if you only have one iPad in the classroom, if it's just yours, oftentimes I rely more on my iPad than I do schools, because the school doesn't always have the best apps. But it's a great, just, that's one station, or that's just one instructional activity. So I can do it as a station, or if I'm working with a group of students, I can do it with my group of students, things like that. I love Google. Google has everything. I'll often create a lot of my assignments off of just Google Pictures. You can find Google Pictures for everything out there. So the nice thing with Google Pictures is you can go through and just create activities that keep the students engaged. This is just the life cycle where it got the different pictures that were on Google Images of life cycle. Slide it over. This right here, we were talking about animal adaptations, where it was just another sorting activity where this was the sort. These were the pictures I needed to sort, and just had to cut and paste and glue them. So a really good activity for some of your lower guys as well as your higher guys. It's very easy to adapt. This activity, this was in a self-contained class, but the next activity was a lot of students who needed a lot more support reading, so we relied more heavy picture. If I were to do this again, I'd probably put words underneath it. But I adapted it from another activity where it was a sort where there's only words. So you can take the same activity and modify it to go 2 different ways. Some other activity, the other one. Let's see, this is another similar one. Actually, I'll show you guys this one in a couple of minutes. Actually, I changed mine. I'll show it to you right now. This is another assignment that I adapted. It was a reading assignment. So I'm going to show you a really cool website in a sec for adaptive reading. But this is a graphic organizer called the Somebody Wanted But So. It's really good for problem solving, things like that. So up here you've got the, this is just the regular assignment most of the class was going to do. In each spot they had to handwrite who the somebody was, who the main character was, what they wanted, things like that. And then down here what I did was I went to Google Images, went to some other websites, things like that, also scanned in some images, and took the same assignment that was up here. And this is for a student who was nonverbal, has autism, who's nonverbal, and what we had him do instead was, rather than having to write out each answer choice, he had to just go through and circle each of the characters in each of the elements we were asking for. So who was the story about? He had to figure out who Alexander was. As we were reading the story to him, he had to go through and we as teachers went through and made sure when he was reading the story, hey, this is Alexander, point to Alexander, things like that. So he kind of had a little bit of an idea of who each person was, but it helped to keep the student engaged. It's a great modification for the activity to keep the student engaged in the activity, being able to work with this group, things like that. I was talking earlier how, the big theme in teaching is trying to make sure, everyone's always asking, when do I find time to do all this modification, adaptation, things like that, support all the students. So a lot of really cool websites out there that all you have to do is just click 1 or 2 buttons and it'll go through and have the activity already there for you. I'm going to show you just a couple very briefly. First one, this is called the Sherlock Center. The cool thing with the Sherlock Center is they've got over 260 different titles of books where they've gone through and scanned in each of the images that they've scanned in books, and what they've done with it is, let me see if I can navigate around my, just click this one up here. They've gone through and taken the words and put picture symbols underneath each word so that the student is able to keep up with the instructions. So the class might have the actual book, but in this case, they can go through and, hey, I see the moon, so it's nighttime, things like that. So it's just a great modification. They've got a lot of really good books, and they've got books going from elementary up to the high school level. Another cool one's Tar Heel Reader. Tar Heel Reader is nice because it's books created by kids for kids. Let's lower it down a little bit. It's got words, things like that, are simple to read, and can run on a tablet, you can print them, things like that. But kids can also create their own books. So oftentimes kids really like those. It's another great site called Rewordify. Rewordify will actually go through and change the text for you. So this is the preamble of the Constitution. Click one button, and it'll go through and it'll take some words that are more complicated, break them down. It's a pretty good site, which is nice. But one of my favorite ones is called I can't pronounce it. It's called Newzela. I don't ever pronounce it right. But the nice thing with Newzela is you can take a text. So for instance, this is on the Loch Ness Monster. You can change over here. You can just click different buttons and it instantly changes the reading levels for the text. But additionally, one of the big things in my county right now is we've got a lot of English language learners. So the nice thing with this site is we can actually provide the students a Spanish version of the same text at their reading levels. So if you've got a group of kids who you want to make sure they all have the same article about the same thing, this site is great for helping students all stay on the same page, and you don't have to go through and print too many different things out. You don't have to go find different websites. You can use the same assignment, same article, but just use the article that's at their reading level. So that's a really nice one. There's another similar one called Tween Tribune that does the same thing. They just don't have the Spanish translations. A lot of really cool computer sites, play games, things like that. Trying to think, you can do YouTube videos. Khan Academy is a really good resource. Khan is this guy up in New York who just goes through and gives breakdowns of different instructions. Sometimes that different explanation can really help your students out. Last one to show you is just this really cool website I use called Lessonpix. Lessonpix is just a website where you can create lots of visuals for your students. I would get a lot of my pictures from there. You can create schedules, communication boards, checklists, lots of really cool resources. It's really easy to use. It does have a subscription. It's $3 a month. But it's just a really great all-around website. You can create assignments, schedules, everything you see on this page you can create. And the other nice thing is if there's something you can't create, they created the site so that's easy to just go and copy the image from the website to a Word doc or publisher to just use it however you want to use the website. And if they don't have a picture, you can contact them and they'll pretty quickly go in, update, and create the picture for you. Anywho, I showed you a lot of resources that I use in the classroom as well as showed other teachers. I hope you at least found one resource that you'd be interested in learning more about. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. My information or my email address is right here on this page. I wish you guys best of luck in the semester, and I hope that you enjoy teaching as much as I do. Take care and have a great week.